Wait, but back to Montana.
Yeah.
And so don't you feel like you feel like you're like, I want to go be alone in the cold and just get away. But even if you're like, hey, you got all the money today, it's here, go do it. You get a thrill out of doing good radio, right? Like even on a great radio day, you're like, that's a good day.
Yes.
And that's why you really can't pull the trigger on that
you
anyway.
could do that from anywhere now. Like I
guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking in my mind, this is the truth. I can fall asleep anywhere, anytime. I've slept during commercials here. Yeah. Just a little power naps.
Middle of conversation, just pass right out.
Be more entertaining. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
I know it's not my fault. I told Robert Kelly the other day, he was like, man, I'm getting old. I can't sleep anymore. He's like, I sleep like 2 hours. And I go, I can sleep anywhere for as long as I want. And he goes, don't say it like it's a superpower. It's not because you're fat and unhealthy. I said, okay, but I've always been this way. But what I have to do is I have to get in bed and I have to get comfortable, and then I have to like daydream a little bit. Like still, sometimes I'm in concert in high school, or if I'm in a fight somewhere or something.
Yeah.
But for what really gets me to go to sleep is designing my cabin. I never actually finish designing it. In my head, I fall asleep, and I'm like, this is it. But in my mind, I have a big white beard.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing clothes that I've never worn before, and I chop wood.
I'm into
I'm a new guy.
I'm into it. Yeah,
right?
I think of a ranch, like Colorado ranch or something.
I thought about that too, but I thought about it's probably good for post-apocalypse to have some sort of animals or something, but I don't want the responsibility.
No. That's the thing is in my fantasy, like someone else is like taking care of it. And then they're like, hey, Fit. And I'm like, hey. And then, motorcycle. Like, I don't know how to drive a motorcycle, but in my fantasy, it's my ranch. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
By the way, the vehicle that I sent you for your Montana cabin and stuff, I just sent to Joey if he has it up on Bone TV.
Yeah, I have.
Which is perfect for snow.
And by the way, you said like you can do radio from anywhere now. That is one of my favorite, like, ridiculous radio things is when you go to guest somewhere and they'll be like, it's usually like in a cold place.
Yeah.
Like you're in Des Moines or something. They're like, the host, like, John, by the way, this is the John show. John lives in Palm Beach, and that's where he's at right now.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay. And then they're like, don't say that he's not here, though. And you're like, all right. And then they don't even give you a monitor. Like nothing to look at, so you walk in.
Sitting in a room by yourself.
Yeah, he's like, nice black jacket. And you're like, yeah, thanks, man. And then, you're like, yeah, it's good to be here. He's like, yeah, so cold out, right? And you're like, dude, what is going on?
I don't understand that. So I built this studio, and everybody's like, oh, you're going to broadcast from home? And I went, no. And they're like, why? And I go, because that's just lazy. That's me sitting in my underwear in a room watching Oprah while I'm pretending to be talking. It's just terrible radio. But if I had to do it in another city and I had to do it from there in addition to this or whatever, then I can do it. So what radio do you like? You don't do a lot of morning radio. You don't have to. Clearly, you have 3 shows at the Tampa Theater that are sold out, and which is interesting because this is really the first time you've done radio in Tampa.
Yeah.
In the 10 years since we had you on before, like these people only know you from your comedy and your podcast.
Right.
And that's great that you've
That's
sold
great,
out 3 shows. So what do you like? What cities do you do regular radio in? Anybody? Like I know radio. I don't hate radio shows, and I know some shows from Bert. I know Todd and Tyler. I've never heard their show, but I know he loves them in Nebraska.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
And then there's
Preston and Steve.
Yeah, that he loves.
Those guys are great. I like Preston and
Philly.
Steve a lot. I like them a lot.
So I don't get to hear a lot of these shows, but I know of these people.
Yeah.
But in LA, do you do anything?
No,
Nothing. Who do you listen? Do you listen to anything?
In my car, I have. I didn't sign up for satellite radio,
right.
and so it's almost always on K-Day there. So that's like Big Boy in the morning.
Yeah.
LA staple for like he switched the stations.
He's not so big anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now. Yeah. No, he lost hundreds of pounds, but I mean, so that's on in my car in the mornings. But I don't know. Here's the thing about I don't dislike radio at all.
Yeah.
What happens is when you're coming up through the clubs, they make you do a lot of press.
Right.
Let's just press as an umbrella term.
Yeah.
And they make you do a lot of it in a lot of markets where you can be on shows for hours and kill. Like literally, the guys are like, "This is such a great day here," and you could do the Good Morning Television. The Good Morning Hartford
Which that
show.
seems to be the most awful thing to do.
And then you go to the shows, and like, let's say it's half full. All right, you're like, all right, well, and then you go like, who heard me on the radio? And then it's like one hand. So you're like, why are you making me do this? And it's because in a lot of places, it's like to maintain that relationship, and you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like it has nothing for me.
I don't hold that against the club. If I'm like, we had somebody scheduled to come in, and I looked at the sheet and I go, he's not going to come in studio. And they were like, oh, we got him booked. And I go, no, who was it? And then canceled. D.L. Hughley or somebody?
No, Arsenio Hall.
No, but we had Arsenio on the phone. It was somebody like I don't want to do phoners with anybody.
I don't like phoners.
But Arsenio is a television legend. And I had things to talk to him about.
Yeah,
I was like,
sure.
He's worth it.
I'm even worse on phoners.
Oh,
I'm bad in studio. On the phone,
I mean, yeah,
it's a disaster.
It's a delay, and we can't see each other.
Yeah,
and if I start talking about something and I see the guy go, then I know he doesn't want to talk about it, which either means talk more about it or depending on who the guest is.
John in Palm Beach doesn't know that.
No,
or maybe he does. He saw your black jacket. So.
Yeah, that's right. No, look, so. I only don't do. First of all, I don't get a lot of radio requests at all. I get like some print stuff, and and I do get asked to do some phoners, and it's fun to do the ones that like I don't know where you feel like it's fun to do.
Yeah.
And like so I've called into Preston and Steve.
Oh, you have?
And I've called into Bennington, and had a great time with them. But like, and I've gone into Bennington. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's the best.
But I mean, on a regular basis, I'm probably not on calling in or on any.
Yeah,
show.
I don't like when Bert does other shows. It makes me jealous.
Yeah, I would.
There's like a couple that he can do that I accept, like Elliot and Preston and Steve and all that. But when he, like one time, I was walking by my my office one day at home. My phone was ringing. I answered. I go, hello, and God, yeah. He's like, I'm on the air with Todd and Tyler, and they want to know how much money you make. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Of course he called you that.
But I didn't care. I was like, all I know is if I tell you and they make more than me, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
On the phone. So
yeah.
I love talking about that kind of stuff. It's not I'm making more than you. Don't you ever like wonder what people make? Like whenever like that Sunday newspaper does that. Like what's that Parade magazine does? What people are making, and they go, "This guy's a nurse."
I read that thing line by line.
Right, you want to know? You just out of natural curiosity, and then you kind of want to compare it to you. But I want to know where I'm at in the game. Nothing makes me feel better than my when my son was born. Somebody bought me one of those things. I don't remember. It was like all the things that happened on that day, what the number one single was, and then it said average household income was like $68,000.
Isn't that nice?
I was like, that makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that
I can't. I love knowing, by the way, among comedians, like what people's deals are, ticket prices. Like,
Bert will tell you.
Oh, of course. Yeah, but we study those things. Now he and I will actually trade details, which like people never do, which is stupid because you kind of
that's how you get everybody.
Yeah, and you inform yourself and you learn, like like it's like a NFL players union. It's like you start understanding, but like nobody likes to talk about that. Bert, I mean, I'm surprised he just doesn't tweet it out. He's like, "This is what I made. This is my last show."
He walked around with a piece of paper that gave him his guarantee for all of his tour. And I go, are you making good money on the tour? You just want to see? And takes the paper out and shows it to me. I'm like, oh, good for you.
Yeah.
He always says, Bert says a lot. He says what he learned from you is that he can say no to stuff.
Yeah, except he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's the best man, but he's hilarious. He'll put that out there.
I love it.
Yeah.
His honesty is what makes him so. His vulnerability is what makes him so funny to me.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is, like, now, I mean, he's going to be insufferable soon because a year ago he was like, I'm making so much money right now, and now I know he's definitely making more money, so it's going to be unbearable.
He when Twitter first started, he's like, man, you got to help me get Twitter followers. And then next time I saw him, he's like, how many Twitter followers do you have? Like, he had like 200,000 more than me.
Yeah.
Like, TV does it.
He's good at social media, though, because he loves it. That's the thing. I think he actually loves making videos. You know what I mean? Like, he loves creating content, and then, I don't know.
And he's funny. Like I'll thumb through it, and I'll watch a couple of seconds, and I'm like, he's always got something. Like, I did a panel one time about social media with the lady who does social media for Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And she was like, the number one thing I learned is don't put anything out there unless it's great. And I thought, I don't do that. I just put mediocre stuff out all day. Yeah. Bert's are usually pretty great. Like, he does a good job
his videos, like his promo stuff is definitely, I'm like, how much time did you spend on this? He was like, an afternoon. And I'm like, for your Instagram post?
Yeah.
But I mean, that it looks good.
Yeah, it's a good life. Tom Segura is here with us. Now, I believe, are all the shows sold out?
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty wonderful.
That's what they told me.
Yeah, the Tampa Theater. Have you played there? You know that theater? Well,
I don't.
You didn't last time.
By the way, I took that because I DM'd with you.
Yeah.
And I asked
I
you,
booked it.
and you said that's the one people do specials at. That's what you should do.
As where Bert went, it's interesting because it's a beautiful. Have you seen the theater yet?
I did see
it's
it.
A beautiful theater.
Yeah.
And I love that they still do shows there. First time I ever went there was to see Andrew Dice Clay. Didn't quite fit, but everybody else that I've seen there has been great.
Yeah.
And it's just an old. The atmosphere is fantastic.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful space.
Yeah. So, but don't. Good luck going if you want to go.
Yeah, they might have released. Sometimes like day of they release like some holds, like 10, 20 tickets. Or
Are
something.
you with anybody? Like, will you have anybody open for you?
Yeah. I brought Pat House from Philly down.
Okay.
Great comic.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's very funny.
Now, I might need to go. I see this show.
Yeah.
I thought it was only one night, and my son
tonight
has
and
his
tomorrow.
First, yeah, I didn't know tomorrow. Oh, tonight.
Tonight, yeah, tonight's one, and
What's today? Today's
tomorrow's
Thursday.
two. Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, I didn't know there was one tonight. Maybe I'll go tonight
Come tonight.
because my son has his first football game tomorrow.
Oh,
I can't miss that
of
because
course
then he'll
not.
be gay if I
That's-
miss.
yeah,
I didn't go to
for
his
sure.
first football game.
Yeah.
Something, or he'll kill people in college.
I mean,
and be like,
like-
you didn't even go to my game.
He'll try stuff just to spite you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
What position is he playing?
Well, I don't know. He's 12 years old, and he made the varsity team.
What?
Yeah, and he was playing.
What?
Yeah, and he was playing defensive tackle. But last night the coach was like, he wanted to play offense, so we put him on offense.
Wait a minute. He's 12?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, he's for real. He's a big kid.
How's he on the varsity?
He went there, and there's the midgets before varsity.
Yeah.
And he went out and stood there with the midgets, and I looked at the coach and I go, he's going to kill somebody. He's 2 feet taller than any kid out there.
How big is your kid?
He's not. I mean, if you saw him in here, you wouldn't be like, "Wow, that kid's big." But if you were like, "Oh, he's 12," that's pretty big.
Yeah, for 12.
Yeah.
He's definitely.
So,
We share
I-
clothes. His son. And
yeah,
I.
literally, they were at my house, him and Joe.
Wait, if
and
he's going to play varsity,
yeah,
you mean against like juniors?
14 to 16-year-olds.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah.
Right.
16 years. Those are some
Yeah.
big, some
Here
big
he-
16-year-olds.
Well, he's like, I think the rumor got out. He was like, "We're playing a team tomorrow night," and I go, "Yeah, Joe, they're all going to be big kids. They're all going." He goes, "Yeah, I guess they're all big black kids." And I go, "Well, I know that's more intimidating. I know that's scary, but you just do your best." I always tell whenever
They are better than you. But yeah.
Whenever we have a black football player, we used to have a guy named Devin Joseph who played for the Buccaneers. He was a defensive player, and he had long dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Not dreadlocks, like braids.
Yeah.
And I go, I'm going to tell you a secret because you're on our team that nobody's going to tell you. White people are inherently afraid of big black people. So know that if you line it up against a white guy, no matter how confident he looks, he's still a little bit scared of you. And that works for him, and it's true.
Was he like, yeah, I already know that.
Yeah. He was like, "Why? I'm so sweet." I go, "He's not worried about how sweet
I've been
you are."
black my whole life. I know what's going on.
So he's playing, and I don't know what position he's going to play, but I'm very excited to see.
Dude, yeah, that's awesome. I would cancel my show to go to that show, to go to watch that.
Well, I think I'm gonna come tonight. Then
That'd be great,
All
man.
right, that'll work.
That'd be great.
Tom Segura is here with us now. I know I saw your Instagram yesterday. I assume you've watched the Michael Jackson documentary.
Oh yeah.
Is that not the? I mean, we all kind of knew.
Of course
but I
we
don't need
knew.
to hear about look kids' butts.
Horrible.
It's really been.
He definitely
definitely did it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yo, like who's watching?
What is
this
wrong
now
with you
going,
if you're out there and you're like, but I mean, did you not read the case files? Yeah, no, I did.
Yeah.
He's a pervert. He's a pedophile. He's a molester.
I know. Sure. I mean, like it's really
sure.
I mean, what do you think? Pedophile, or you think he? I mean, definitely pedophile.
I think he's a serial sexual predator for sure.
Do you, or do you think it's because he has a different mental issue? Like I wonder. My whole thing was I didn't think Michael Jackson before this. I didn't think he was necessarily a pedophile. What I thought was he was stuck in some sort of child mode because he had trauma in his youth. Probably was gay and was afraid to tell anybody about it, and found comfort in non-sexual things like kids and all that. But then I saw this thing and I was like, "Whoa, I was wrong. I'm no expert."
I don't know. I think you definitely nailed it that there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I think, he definitely was a victim of abuse himself.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of trauma there. But I mean, we all were like, in that era, like, yo, this dude's a grown man just hanging out with like 10-year-old boys.
Yeah. Like show up to big things when like you brought Webster.
And by the way, we should all be equally critical of the parents who are like, like, hang out, and then he could sleep in your room for a month. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that was
all that crazy stuff.
Also, we got a house, so that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of people complicit in that thing. Staff, I'm sure.
Staff.
And if you read like the 1993 or 2005, especially the 2005 details.
Yeah.
In those case files, there's a lot of staff that corroborate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like from security to maid to cook, talking about what they saw. So it's not like
they probably had to all sign non-disclosure
I'm
agreements.
sure,
and they were all afraid that they would lose their job at Neverland.
Of course,
you don't want to do that. Although I did say the other day, and I was pretty positive. Like I grew up a really poor kid.
Yeah.
And if I was living in the Berry Home projects and Michael Jackson one day was like, "Come to Neverland," and we went to Neverland, and he was like, "Just touch my wiener," I'd be like, "Do I get to stay?" I probably would have done it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the allure, the seduction, right, of like the fame and look, I mean, I would forget about this creep. And then hear like anything off the wall or Thriller, and you're like, "This is dope."
Right.
This is right. And then even like yesterday, I heard a song. I was like, "This is the jam."
I'll never stop listening to Ignition. I don't care how guilty R. Kelly is. That's the greatest song ever.
That song's amazing.
And what is it, Carmen? Oh, Carmen's not here. Carmen says it's raping music, but I still can't. I still have to keep listening.
It's. Here's the thing. I'm not going to turn it off.
No,
I don't have to go put it on. But if you put it on, I'll be like, "All right, we're listening to this song."
I think I watched the documentary and then put it on afterwards. Yeah. I was like, this is. I saw Sam Morril yesterday on the show. I talked about watching the documentary with my wife in the middle of the day. We were both home alone. We taped it. We put it on and we were watching it. And we were laying in bed, and there was absolutely no chance we were going to have sex.
Hell no. After that?
It's so great. And then Sam Morril said, was like, I was watching it with a girl, and I tried to have sex with her, and she's like, no way.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so gross.
My penis went up and inside of it. Yeah, it's like.
It's especially when you have kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like did you watch Abducted in Plain Sight?
Yes.
What?
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
That's another. I can't even get my wife. She won't watch it.
Why?
I go, just so you know, because I know how she is.
Right.
I was like, everything's all right now. So
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll tell you the premise, but just know that like it doesn't end terribly.
Right.
She was like, nope, don't want any of that in my head at all. None
So
of
we
it.
had her on the air last week.
You
Jan
did?
Broberg, yeah. And now my wife's a therapist, so my wife's listening to the show,
God.
and my wife loved the abduct. She made me watch it. He made me watch it. So we're talking to her, and I said, do you think that your dad, and part of the reason why your mom and dad had such, were able to get suckered in by this is because your dad was a closeted homosexual and was able to have his first gay experience with this guy and then was so embarrassed by it that he used it against him. And she was like, my dad was he was a piano player and an artist, and the twin of my wife's like, she clearly deflected your question. Didn't have any. Her dad was definitely gay, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, I don't. But everybody was so quick to say, like, I was defending.
He's sweeter than sour sauce. You know?
Yeah. There's two scenarios how that ends: either doing it and you're gay, or you punch the guy in the face.
Right?
That's the two scenarios.
Dude, that guy must have been just one of these master manipulator deceivers, like when you lay out, but of course it doesn't, explain how, like, the guy had to want to go in with that,
right?
But that story,
and he
you're
picked
like,
it up.
You're like, what you're watching, you're like, no way. When the guy's like, I have this problem, I don't know what to do.
Help. I need relief.
I helped him out. Yeah.
I described it because I said on Twitter, I go, you're going to watch it. You're going to stop it multiple times and just stand up and go, what is going on? Yeah. I said at the 21-minute mark or whatever is the first one where you just go, okay, this is crazy.
It's crazy. And then when you don't believe it could get any crazier, like when this poor child is returned to your home, you're like, I guess this is the end of the doc. And it's like,
that was quick.
Nope.
Yeah.
Mom's going to hook up again. I mean, it's just.
Well, and the fact that it happened with multiple kids, like, this was just one story of him doing this, but he did this with a number of other children. So think of what he did to those families.
But isn't there, like, some parallel to, like, because the thing is, one of the crazy things about this, and I'm so amused and entertained by the Michael Jackson backlash, like the defenders, the people who are like,
I got a couple emails.
They go to the mat over this, man. It's like, then you see like the reaction to, a guy like the guy in Abducted in Plain Sight, or like if I just drew up the picture of the Michael Jackson scenario, and instead of a famous pop singer, I was like, "It's Kevin. He works at the gas station." You wouldn't be like, "Man," but he's a good dude. and people just love.
He's misunderstood, and he had a bad youth.
Yeah, they'd love to defend it, and I didn't think it was going to be that level. Where people...
No, but this is how it was with Bill Cosby in the beginning. All the black actors came out and they were like, how dare you? And then they all were like, all right, maybe. Except Faison Love. He's still holding strong.
He's hard on it. He's hardcore.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I love that dude, but that is one thing he's way off on, is he will not let the Bill Cosby thing go.
Yeah, I think that with the Michael Jackson, I think the real thing is that when you really love a musician, it becomes part of your identity. And you're like, I spent so much time listening, dancing, singing, letting it, play in the car, going to concerts, putting posters that you don't want to shed that part of your identity if you're a super fan.
Right.
So you do anything to try to defend and explain it.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't see getting caught up in any of that. I love Pearl Jam, but Eddie Vedder needs to shut up about politics. I can definitely look at it and say, when I was a kid, I used to love Prince.
Yeah.
When Purple Rain came out and Little Red Corvette and all that, and I had Prince posters and all that. And my mother took me to some weird church, and they convinced me that Prince was worshipped the devil, and I went home and took all my posters down.
Really?
Yeah, my mother took me to some weird churches when I was a kid, and I
think she set that up. She was like we're talking about Prince today.
No,
get him in there.
I think she liked Prince too, and we just realized that Jesus was more important than Prince.
Really?
And Prince came down, and then this weird church with traveling hippies that would come and draw pictures while they told stories. They gave me one of the pictures, so then that replaced my Prince poster. A picture of Noah's Ark made on chalk on paper. Oh.